Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another Dream Classes prediction video for the class of 2023. We're talking about a team that currently is number one in recruiting, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. What an amazing job Marcus Freeman has done on the recruiting trail. He's completely out-recruited, anything that Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame with what he's done. Taking a look at Notre Dame, one of the biggest things they're going to have to do when you look at their 15 commits is keeping Keon Keeley, who is the number 8 overall player as we speak right now. You've got Alabama and Ohio State pushing for official visits. Personally, I do think they will be able to keep him. You can take a look. This is a very nice class. You're talking about 4 top 100 players, and then a guy like Braylon James. It's very unfortunate the situation that happened with him where he got absolutely destroyed. Unfortunately, in the latest, Rivals update, the latest On3 update, his composite is dropped, to 117th. So he's gotten crushed. But they've got a very nice, stable 4-star group, and then a few 3-stars with high upside. I know this offensive tackle they just got committed yesterday, Page, is a very big stock-up guy. You're going to see him become a composite 4-star very soon. Actually, he's right on the border already. He's at 89.00. If he goes up to 89.01, he becomes a 4-star. So he's basically a 4-star. So that is how their class looks. They already have 15 commits. I probably will be projecting maybe 26 or 27 total. It is a dream class, but we want to be as realistic as possible. So we will look right now at all their top targets and add different guys that I think they have a legit chance of landing. So you look first, you've got Neely committed. You got to make sure you keep him. You got to keep him. Very interesting situation. Keeley committed to Notre Dame when he was like a low 4-star. He's blown up as this major big-time recruit, and it's Ohio State and Alabama trying to lure him for official visits. But I have faith. Marcus Freeman, the defensive mind, the good recruiter, he's going to be able to keep him committed. The next guy, Caleb Downs, no chance. Caleb Downs right now, it looks like Georgia and Ohio State with Alabama in third. Dante Moore, I did a story yesterday on Dante Moore and how Notre Dame was kind of falling out of the race for him. Not sure where their quarterback is going to be in this class. If this, this Dante Moore thing, it's totally NIL related. If NIL did not exist, Dante Moore would be going to either Michigan or Notre Dame. There is no doubt in my mind. Very likely, he's going to go to one of these trendy NIL teams like an Oregon, like an A&M, one of those type of teams due to the NIL lure and the way those programs are weaponizing it. I'm just being honest. When it comes to Notre Dame quarterbacks, they did get a major commitment from a 2024 5-star, the number 20 player in the nation, C.J. Carr, who is Lloyd Carr's grandson. He did not go to Michigan. He's going to Notre Dame. So that is a great get for them. Richard Young, it's not happening. Samuel Mapemba, it's not happening. Carnell Tate, it's not happening. I'm trying to do a dream class, but these guys are Carnell Tate, it's Ohio State, it's Tennessee. If NIL wasn't a thing, Carnell Tate would have already been committed to Ohio State by now, and he would have had a final 2 of Ohio State and Notre Dame. This kid, I believe, was originally from Illinois, transferred down to IMG Academy in Florida, and the only reason he's considering Tennessee right now is because of the 7-figure offer he received from their boosters. So it's not happening. Jaylen Brown, it's not happening. If I had to guess for Jaylen Brown, I'd say Miami. They have Bowman. Jason Moore. So there's the first guy we are going to add. Let me actually move my keyboard. It is going to be Jason Moore, who it would be a great pickup. I've heard Ohio State is in on this kid, but Notre Dame right now, you take a look at him. Notre Dame leads for him. They've received crystal balls. Maybe a team like Minnesota, the hometown team. This is the same high school that Chase Young went to. So Jason Moore, the number 52 overall player, it is clear, at least right now, that Notre Dame leads for him. Marcus Freeman, the defensive mind. He's going to get Jason Moore. That would be such a great pickup for them. Justice Haynes, it's not happening. Here's another guy, another offensive tackle who Notre Dame does a great job. It is Charles Guyusha. Really good looking offensive tackle. On3 has this kid ranked as like a top 15 overall player. On3 solo rankings. In the composite, he's ranked 55. They have him listed as warmer. This guy could be a franchise type offensive tackle. You take a look, it's Notre Dame, it's Michigan, but this kid's from Illinois, right next to Indiana, where Notre Dame is. So I see Notre Dame getting the job done. They do such a great job recruiting offensive tackles. And speaking of, how about this next guy? Monroe Freeling, who is another great stud offensive tackle. He's a stock-up guy in the latest update they did. He's moving up the rankings. He's from South Carolina. Notre Dame leads for him, I would say. There hasn't been any crystal ball activity. But right now, if Notre Dame is able to land both of these offensive tackles, that is just amazing. And what a stable, you got a guy like C.J. Carr, who's a 5-star quarterback. What a stable infrastructure you're building for him with these 2 stud offensive tackles if they're able to get him. Dalton Brooks, it ain't happening. He's going A&M. Ashbury, they're not even listed as warm. Jeremiah Love, who's been a big stock-up guy. He's the number 72 overall player. I'm not extremely familiar with his recruitment. He's from Missouri. I have a very hard time believing he would go to Notre Dame. Personally, just looking, here's another guy, Christian Gray. This is so big for Notre Dame to make sure they get their hands on Christian Gray. So we will add him. He's another guy that's really moved up the rankings. He's a top 100 composite player. You're adding significant talent to this team. Brian Kelly has never recruited like this at Notre Dame. The next guy, Jaden Greathouse, who looks like it's a battle between Notre Dame and Texas. I had thought this kid was a lock to Notre Dame. I'm going to add him. I could see Texas certainly getting him. I've warned people that Texas is desperate right now. They're going crazy on the NIL front. But there's another receiver to pair with Braylon James that I am adding. And another stud cornerback who's probably going to be a top 100 player, Micah Bell. I love Micah Bell. Maybe as a slot corner. He's 5'11". This is the perfect slot corner. Oh my goodness. Micah Bell. These are the exact type of players Notre Dame should be landing. This is how Notre Dame should be doing in recruiting. They're an elite football program. There's guys that love that, atmosphere on Notre Dame with the academics, things like that. These are upstanding kids. Micah Bell, very high character. I like him a lot. Tyler Williams, I'm not going to add another receiver. Micah Tease, I find it very hard to believe being from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's listed as an athlete. I would say he's probably going to Oklahoma, but they are listed as warm for him. Calvin Simpson Hunt, I think he will decommit from Texas A&M, but I don't know where he's going. A lot of schools are chasing him. He's another cornerback. Wagner, I don't know, honestly, from Washington. I'm not going to add him. Here's another guy, we may actually be adding too many receivers. How many receivers? Oh, no, this would be the 3rd receiver in the class. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Rico Flores, who wants to go to Ohio State. Ohio State is saying right now, there's no room. We're going after Carnell Tate. We're going after Noah Rogers. We're going after Brandon Inniss. So there's no room. We already have Bryson Rogers committed. That's what Brian Hartline is saying. So Flores, this is a great get for Notre Dame as well. That's a great young receiver nucleus, and this class is totally realistic. I'm being conservative. Jordan Hall, a linebacker from Florida. His recruitment is wide open. We might just add him because it is a dream class, and we're kind of running out of guys. Yeah, we might just have to add him. How many commits do we have? 22. We'll add Jordan Hall. Why not? I may add a few more guys to get to like 26. Is this kid from IMG? He is. He's the IMG one. So this would be a solid 4-star. Right now, it looks like his recruitment is wide open. It's not a high shot they're going to land him, but it's not like this is some 5-star I'm projecting. No, we're not going to have them taking another receiver. That's just not realistic. A 3-star athlete. This kid will probably move up the rankings. My God. Looks like Alabama's interested. Clemson's interested. Wow, that's an interesting top 4. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Nebraska. And he's from Massachusetts. All right, guys, so I did add a few more commits, kind of lower 4-star guys that Notre Dame is in on. This is, a dream class situation, but it's more realistic. So 25 commits, a total score of 300, which is probably close to Notre Dame's best class in the history of their recruiting, honestly. That's how good it would be. 300 is a very elite average, and you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're talking about 8 top 100 players. Maybe Braylon James gets bumped back up. Micah Bell is definitely, I see, a guy that I think is going to finish a composite top 100 player. So this is a very, very, very good class with solid cornerbacks, a really good group of receivers, 2 really good offensive tackles, phenomenal safety, and a superstar franchise-type pass rusher. Notre Dame has done such a great job on the recruiting trail. Honestly, if I would have done this class last week, it probably would have a score of about 305. The reason it's 300 is because Rivals updated their rankings. And, they moved Braylon James down 130 spots. It's a crazy move, but so they've kind of lost a little bit of steam in terms of their overall average, but still, I think the big key for Notre Dame, do not let anyone flip Keeley. That's the number one key. You have to keep the superstars that you have committed. You've got to keep them committed. And then the 2 big offensive tackles, and then a guy like Jason Moore to pair with Keeley. Now you're talking about a legit elite defense. You have CJ Carr in the class of 2024. Get him some good receiver weapons. These are 3 really solid receivers. And yeah, so this is exactly the way that Notre Dame should be recruiting. They're never going to recruit on the Ohio State level, on the Alabama level. With the way the requirements work, just the atmosphere, some kids get turned off by it. It's not for everyone. But that doesn't mean you can't zero in on a select type of player that would find Notre Dame. I think they got such the perfect balance. Notre Dame desperately needed a young coach, and they got that with Marcus Freeman, who can relate to the kids. He can kind of bridge the gap in between, this whole idea that Notre Dame's all about academics, they're this upstanding, he can kind of be the guy that says, no, he's like the relatable dude. That's what I'm saying. He's relatable. And that's why I think he's a lot, in this day and age with NIL, he can relate to kids a lot better than Brian Kelly could. And we're seeing Notre Dame recruit significantly well. Again, guys, this is realistic. I'm not going to just throw Caleb Downs in this class. They're not going to get Caleb Downs. There's 0 chance. This is a realistic dream class for Notre Dame. But that is going to do it for this video. Notre Dame, they have the number 1 overall class. And I think they do have a legitimate chance to possibly finish with a top 5 class. If they got a 300 score, they would definitely have a top 5 class. But that relies on them landing a lot of their top targets. We'll see if they're able to do it. It'll be very, with Notre Dame, if you're a Notre Dame fan, I would shoot for 5th or 6th overall this year and be very happy with it. 5th or 6th, because you're going to have Ohio State, finish above you. Alabama's going to finish above you. Georgia's going to finish above you. Texas A&M is going to finish above you. That's just the way it is in recruiting right now. It's very hard to change that. And then it's are they able to, what does Florida do with NIL? What does Oregon? You're battling those teams for 5th or 6th spot at that point. Texas Tech's not going to be there. Penn State's not going to be there. Cincinnati's not going to be there. Northwestern's not going to be there. Arkansas's not going to be there. Louisville, they're in NIL, and they got a nice top 100 player, but they're not going to be there. Tennessee, it just depends if they're able to land Carnell Tate. I don't think they will. They'll offer him $5 million. They'll probably pivot to another receiver and offer another receiver $5 million if they can't get Carnell Tate. I don't know. I'm not saying they offered Carnell Tate $5 million. They gave Carnell Tate a 7-figure offer. I know that. And if they do get him, I'm sure we'll hear that offer come out and be public. But, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, The Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.